Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another webinar here at the Day Trading Institution. I hope you guys have been able to gain as much value as possible from these webinars. Obviously, the webinars are intended for people with a little bit more advanced information and knowledge on the market. But we're going to start the webinar how we always do. So we're going to break down gold, we're going to break down silver, and then we're going to break down GJ like always. So starting off with gold, yesterday, one thing we had covered is a possible rejection and a pullback from 1813, which that didn't happen. But what I did state also is that you could have waited for a potential lower high point after the break of 1813, where you could look to take a short down into 1797. Now, if you go down to a 30-minute time frame, you can see price break under 1813 here, come back, pull back, retest 1813, where price found resistance and continued to go short. Gold would have definitely been a lot trickier of a move to catch, and I don't blame you if you didn't catch it. But now what I'm going to be looking for on gold over the next couple of hours, couple of days, is it really all depends on this weekly time frame, right? I would like to see a rejection of 1797, but I definitely do see gold continuing to go down, mainly because if we pay attention to these structure points here, price is just broken under a daily structure point here. And it does look like price actually continued to trade lower. We have the price close under the 50 SMA along with the 21 SMA, the way the weekly time frame is forming as well. So here's the thing. If price on the weekly time frame closes under 1797, then we're going to see gold continue to go down, probably to 1765, this area here. And then potentially if price breaks that area, we'll see price continue to come back down to 1750, where we have all these more major rejections of this area here. So gold is going to be a little bit tricky for you to trade. Again, the best thing for you to actually do in a situation like this is wait for something along the lines of price to do maybe something like this, kind of what happened in this area here, but just on a lower time frame, obviously. So wait for price to break under in this situation 1797, wait for the retest and a confirmed rejection. Now, silver was definitely a lot easier of a trade to catch. So I actually ended up catching silver and I ended up getting out down here at the target. So yesterday, what we had discussed with silver was if price actually broke under this weekly highest close over here, this daily level of resistance, all you have to do is wait for price to pull back into that area, look for that sell confirmation, and then target the next major level of support, which was down here and was down here. As you could see, price on the 4-hour time frame ended up closing under this area here, continuing to trade lower. You break it down to a lower time frame, such as a 30-minute, right? You see the clear move down. This was the break. At this point in time, all you have to wait is for price to pull back into this level of resistance, into this level of structure, where you then wait for your sell signal, which would have been this candlestick here. You would have sold around this area, targets around this area, or stops around that area, and then your targets would have been somewhere in this area here. So on this trade, I gained around 3 times my risk. I ended up selling midway through this candlestick closure, stop loss above the high, and then take profit was down here. My stop loss was actually a little bit bigger. I was looked to gain exactly 3 times my risk. So that was the position on silver. Again, like super clean setup. It doesn't really have to get too complicated. Again, you wait for the break. Once price breaks, retest, and then look for price to continue to the downside after a sell signal. So that was a silver trade. Now, where we could potentially see silver continuing to travel is going to be a little bit trickier to determine. Really, if we look at the weekly time frame, they should tell you right away we're looking for sells, right? Especially if this weekly time frame can actually close under the previous week's low. We've already made a lower low, right? From the previous week, price already made a lower low, indicating that we could see price continuing to trade lower. But at this point in time, I would like to see the weekly actually close under this previous week's low, where we'll then look for price to come back down into this 22 level, where we then have to wait and see what could potentially happen, right? If we also look at this weekly time frame, price is making lower highs and lows at the same time. So it's going to be very tricky to see where silver could go in the short term, because we could have a rejection from this level. We could see price actually pull back and then continue to go short from here. We just have to really wait and see what silver is going to do. Most likely, I see silver probably consolidating maybe even going bearish, but again, we're gonna have to wait and see. This is not an area where I would really like to take a good trade setup from, especially because if we're looking to go short, like we're already at the end of the week, and we're at an area where if we want to actually short, we need to wait for this break, the retest, and if the price come into this daily level here. So that's what we can expect with silver. Now with GJ, as you guys can see, clear longs, hit the target almost to the pip, right? One thing I had said was I'm going to be pretty much waiting for some form of a double bottom or something along those lines, a little bit of consolidation. Where was the double bottom? Right here, right? This is where you could have actually taken the position, and price actually ended up coming all the way back down into this area here. This is where you could have actually taken the position for the longs. Again, I had stated that you can either wait for a double bottom. That would be a pretty good entry technique, or you could have potentially waited on the 4-hour time frame for an engulfing. But look what would have happened if you would have waited for the 4-hour engulfing. You know, you wouldn't really even have a trade. And those are the pros and cons of, you know, waiting for that sell signal versus taking a more aggressive approach, like on a lower time frame. But again, you know, I pretty much said those are the two things you could have waited for. Hopefully, some of you guys did end up catching this move. You could have made an entry point after this engulfing here. That would confirm the double bottom. You have 1, 2 retest. You go and you can also check the RSI, see that there is RSI divergence. There's many things you could have done to potentially take in this GJ trade. You could have even waited for the break of this area here. Once price broke above, you could have taken the buy. But again, you know, when it came down to the targets, you know, targets, I stated this is where I would like to target GJ, and then price pretty much went up there right away. And at this point in time, I had closed right here. I didn't really wait for this area here. I just got out right then and there. So 2 super clean trades. I mean, there's not really much other to say than that. I literally planned the trade out perfectly in yesterday's webinar, and exactly what I said it was happened. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes maybe GJ wouldn't have done a double bottom. Sometimes GJ could have just gone straight up. But in situations like this, you know, after a retest rejection here, this was the first sign that you could see buys from this area. We have another rejection here, and then this is the double bottom, which is the buy signal. And again, right at a level of support. You notice support being rejected multiple times. Notice how price failed to close under this area multiple times. And by the end of the trading session, or not the trading session, but this 30-minute candlestick, if you would have seen this bearish candlestick and then you would have seen it pop back up and close bullish, that should have been a big telltale sign for you to actually look to go long. Pretty simple in terms of the setup itself. You look to take a long position after this engulfing candlestick pattern, stops under the low, targets up here. You gain roughly 3 times your risk. And again, we have to place our stop loss at an area where we determine that if price hits our stop loss area, we're most likely wrong with the position anyways, and we want to get out, and that's cutting your loser short, right? So pretty simple, pretty clean. Now when it comes to GJ tonight, where could we possibly go? We could see price possibly go bearish from this point. So I want to wait and see what structure looks like and how this 4-hour candlestick forms, because if price forms this double top here on this 4-hour time frame, we could see price come all the way back down to 153, 112 roughly, let's call it. And I am going to be expecting for price to actually go down to that area. Again, I need to wait and see how that 4-hour candlestick closes, because if the 4-hour candlestick starts breaking above these highs here, we're most likely going to continue to go long, right? We have to wait and see again how this 4-hour candle closes. If this 4-hour candle closes with a big rejection, we could potentially look to go long. You go to a 30-minute time frame, you know, price is starting to trade higher and higher within this resistance. The range of the resistance, I'd want to say, would be this entire area here. So once price starts to break above this, most likely we're going to look to go long. As price can actually maintain under this area, we're going to look for price to come back down into this support level. And if price can break that support level, we'll look for it to come back down into this support level over here. The thing is, the way the daily time frame is actually forming with GJ, let me clear these drawings real quick. The way the daily time frame is actually forming with GJ is we could see very clear, very clean rejections of these highs here, where we saw this rejection over here, and we see this rejection over here. And then you go to a 4-hour time frame and you see the rejection here, here, here. Now price is trading at the area. We currently are retesting that 51 SMA, which is the 50-day trend, which stands for a pretty decent sized pullback. You could use fibs from this previous low point to this high over here. You can maybe even adjust it up here to see, you know, it all depends on how you want to actually play this out. I would put it from this point to this point. So price is starting to break above the 50%. We'd really have to, or not break above, but pull back to that area around the 50%. So maybe add like a 53% pullback from the initial bearish move. So again, I'd want to wait and see how this 4-hour candlestick closes. If we have a big rejection on this 4-hour candlestick, most likely we'll see price come back down to this area. And again, if this area breaks, we can see price come down to this area. Now, if this area does break, again, if you didn't take an initial sell up here, which you could wait for is a pullback into support, look for price to hold as resistance, and then look to take price short back down to 153, 112. Other than that, you could also wait for the break of this area, the retest. If price goes on, look for price to come back up into this previous level of structure over here. So again, that's how I like to plan out my trades is, you know, where's the nearest level of support? Where's the nearest level of resistance? If price does this, then where can it go? Or what if price does this, and where can it go? You want to kind of have a perspective on both sides of buyers and sellers so that you're prepared and you know what you're going to do already when you're in a logical state of mind. Because once you already have a live trade and you have real money at risk, you're no longer going to be thinking as logically as possible. So performing an analysis is automatically going to be biased to the side that you're actually trying to sell. And it's very hard to get out of that state of mind. So again, you want to look at it from both sides. That's why I said, you know, if price, you know, breaks above, wait for the retest and look for price to come long into this area here. But I'm already kind of leaning on the sell side of things if price can actually maintain under this area, because again, the trend is still pretty bearish unless price actually breaks above this high over here. So this is going to be an important point here in GJ. But again, you know, if price rejects this area on this 4-hour time frame and we get a nice sell signal, I'll look to take price down to this support level, potentially even this support level here. So let's just kind of wait and see what price does over the next few hours. We still have about 2 hours and 40 minutes until London session, or not even London session, 1 a.m., which is pre-London hours. So I'd like to see what this 4-hour candlestick would actually do within that amount of time. Anyways, that is the breakdown on what we could potentially expect tonight. So let me know what questions you guys do have. I feel like it's a very simple breakdown.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a couple of people texting me like they need to get in. They have questions. So can you allow them to talk?
They gotta unmute the mics themselves.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Just how you did it.
He got his six-pack out.
What's good, bro?
Now I was saying he got his six-pack in his profile picture.
He's big.
MMA fighter, bro.
He's good. The boy's ripped. So anybody?
Hey, Raul.
Yeah. Bro.
Hey, on the London Open, you see how the candle wicked down before it went up? Would you consider that a stop hunt? Because I got caught by that.
I mean, that's pretty tight for a stop hunt. I would say this is a failed breakout to the downside. That's what I would say. If you got caught by that, I mean, I'm assuming your stop obviously had to be within this range here. Where was your entry?
My entry, I put buy stop at the very bottom of the wicks, the lowest wick. And then I had like a 3-pip stop loss. So I just tried to like catch like a really tight trade.
I mean, yeah, that's why you got stopped out, because you had a 3-pip.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, Raul. Most of like the question, I entered in GJ last night. Well, here is 3 a.m. Last night for me is 8 p.m.
Yeah.
After the break, I did a break and retest entry. Look the GJ go down in the double bottom in 30-minute time frame. And then I wait to the price came all the way down to 154.05 there. And in 1 hour, when I saw the rejection of the wick and pressure of buyers, I get in with my position. But now you're saying that if the price can't pass the resistance that you mark, in the chart.
This one?
Yeah, maybe the price come all the way down again.
Correct.
I don't know. I don't want to put break even because most of my trade, I lose. I don't lose. I didn't lose, but I put break even to avoid big losses. But at the end, goes all the way up in this case, which will if I have to close my trade.
Can you repeat that?
If I'm in a buy.
Okay, so if you're gonna buy, when should you close your trade? Is that what you're asking?
Raul, you froze.
Can you guys hear me? Or am I still frozen?
Sorry, bro, I didn't hear you.